Hey comic fans, Scott Harris King here, and today I'm starting a whole week of romance comics. Yes, I'm going to be highlighting some stuff from my romance collection. Some of it you've seen before, some of it you haven't seen before. I'm going to try and highlight some publishers that are a little less on the beaten path. So we're not going to be showing any DC stuff. I've shown you tons of DC. I've got my complete runs of Young Love and Young Romance that I've previously shown you. No DC. So we're going to start off with going to ACG, one of my favorite publishers and my favorite romance title. I think Young Love is probably number one for me, but number two, close number two, it is Romantic Adventures, which was later retitled My Romantic Adventures. Ran for 138 issues. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you a variant cover that I've done for my comic, Geek Love number one. Currently live on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter ends on Friday. I love romance comics so much I made my own romance comic, and I paid tribute to some of my favorite covers and titles with variant covers. And I've done a My Romantic Adventures number 139 variant cover to continue the legacy of this classic ACG series. So I'm going to show you that at the end of the video. But for now, I'm going to show you what I've managed to cobble together a collection of this series. Now, I should say this series is not easy to find issues of. The ACG in general they had lower sales numbers than competitors like DC. Not as ubiquitous as Charlton. So across the board, they're harder to find, particularly the later issues. But it's just not easy to get them. So like if I wanted to put together a complete run of some of these DC romance books, some of them are hard to find, but for the most part, I could probably do it. If I want to put together a complete run of this, which I do, it's going to be work, real work. You can't just go on the internet and get them all. You can go on the internet and get a few of them. But so over the years, many years of collecting, I've gotten one here, one there, and now I do have a fairly sizable stack of issues of Romantic Adventures, aka My Romantic Adventures, and I'm going to show them to you now, starting with, of course, the big one. And when I say that, this is not actually the big one, but it is issue number one. It's Romantic Adventures number one. So this is, I've already forgotten what year it is, but I want to say 1949. A low-grade copy. It's got a spine split at the bottom and just chipping top, missing a chunk at the top. The seller has a sticker on the back that listed as the VG. You know, maybe. I think it's more of a VG minus at best, probably a G to VG. It's pretty rough. It's got a piece of tape on the cover as well. But I actually only paid $20 for this, which is pretty good for what I consider to be a fairly significant romance key. Issue one of Romantic Adventure. Now, I just mentioned it's not really the big one. There's a couple issues that command a lot of money. The big one's issue 50. I don't have that. I don't have any of the really expensive ones. I do have another one later that's worth more than this, which I'm going to show you in just a second, because my collection is really spotty. But there's issue one of Romantic Adventures. Here's issue 28, Romantic Adventures 28. Again, pre-code romance from ACG. And we have the couple kissing, and then in the background there's a thing that says Mario's Marionettes, and there's a couple kissing there. So the puppet show, it's life, imitating art, imitating life. The circle continues. I love my yellow covers. This does have quite a bit of unnecessary blank, like empty space here, so I'm not really sure about the composition of this one particularly, but I like the idea. So that's cool. Here's the one I mentioned that's probably the most valuable that I have. And it's a very solid, it's probably only about a VG because there's a lot of like chips and dings along the edges, but other than that, it's like very solid, especially considering it has a black frame cover, because it is Romantic Adventures number 47. And this is when they were doing, as you can see, the 3D True Vision, which I absolutely love. So some of the stories in here, every panel has the black frame around it with the character sort of coming through the frame, and then the background's done in this sort of weird watercolor effect. So they're trying to emulate the feel of 3D without actually needing 3D glasses. And I love these, and other collectors do too. So any of the 3D True Vision issues from ACG, they always command a premium, but in particular, the ones from the main titles really command a premium. And this is a great cover. Again, not, technically not in great shape because it has a lot of little ticks and dings along the edge, but again, it doesn't have any major creases or anything with the black. It's got a pencil date, which for some reason they wrote right in the middle of her chest, which is slightly distracting. So from a visual perspective, I wish that wasn't there, but I was really happy I got a really good deal on this 3 or 4 years ago. It was only $15. I don't know what it's actually worth, but I wouldn't take anything less than 3 figures for it. And it doesn't matter because I'm not selling it, but because I love that issue. I should say a lot of these are in really, really rough condition, which is pretty common for the ACGs, I have to say. But here's issue 58. This has got a big chunk out of the bottom left. I've got to hold some of these not so close to my mouth and nose because they're kind of musty. She's saying, I'm hoping the audiences will like me even if you don't. And he's thinking, let her keep on thinking that. She mustn't know how I love her. And then this dramatic blurb. She danced herself into fame and fortune, but her life was empty. Read Heart of a Ballerina. Here's issue 78. It says someone's name written on it. I think it says Wanda. It's the startling story of a secretary's love affair, office romance, and it's kind of a funny cover because, as you can see, it's a guy slipping like a engagement ring onto this woman's hand, and then in the background, someone is tossing a salad. I don't know why that's there, but if you think I should be drawn to this, you're right, but it's not. In fact, what it's drawn to is these arms reaching in from off panel to dramatically toss a giant salad. So again, compositionally, I get where they're going for, like one of the marionettes. It doesn't quite work here. The coloring probably doesn't help because it's all kind of the samey color scheme, and so the hands just sort of merge in with everything else. I would have colored this differently so that the hands pop out in the foreground. What do I know, though? Obviously, I'm not a huge salad eater. Here's issue 81, with a much better cover. A warm human love story that touches the heart. Don't miss Dime Store Sweetheart. And she's saying, I never even dared dream you could care for me. So that's a much better cover. The dramatic moon, or maybe it's a sunset. I'm not really sure. The coloring makes it look more like a sun, but it's clearly a night sky. Anyway, the blood moon, let's put it that way. That's a much better cover. I love the deep blue. I think this is one that actually would benefit from not having the thing at the top. True Love Confessions, because if the blue went all the way up, I think it would be more dramatic. But that's a really good cover. That's a good one. 82. I got 2 issues in a row. This has a helpful note on it saying that it's October 1957. So these are all still 50s books here. So again, not that easy to find. And this has like a really dramatic cover. So you can see here she's crying. She's got a picture of her deceased husband, who is in the military, so he apparently died. And then she's got their child, and the new guy is saying, you can't live with memories, darling. He's gone, but I love you. And she's crying, and then it says, can there be 2 great romances in a woman's life? Read the startling answer in Love Again, Live Again. I'm going to guess the answer is yes, but it's not guaranteed, because like Charlton's, ACG some of these stories can get pretty dramatic and pretty action-packed. Like, things happen. A lot of DC stories, nothing actually happens. But in ACG stories, there's a lot of plot. So things are actually happening. It's not just internal monologue about, heartbreak. It's like actual stuff happening. So who knows? Maybe it doesn't happen. Now, here's a tremendous cover. This is a great one. 89. Another deep night cover. And there's a woman in the foreground crying. There's a guy for every girl, but none for me. And then in the background, in silhouette and shadows, this couple making out. That's a great cover. Again, I wish it didn't have the thing at the top, because I think having the blue go all the way to the top would be more dramatic. But the lighting, the coloring, it's just great. That's issue 89. So, really good one. There's another one with a great nighttime cover. It's also people taking a carriage ride, like in what I'm going to say is Central Park, because there's a giant metropolis in the background. This is great. It's a lover's moon, Lila, for us. A new kind of love story. A different kind of love story. Cupid has his dog days. That does sound different, right? But here they are, just married sign. And there's the silhouette of the carriage driver. They're being taken by horse-drawn carriage through the park. There's the city in the background with a dramatic moon. I love these nighttime covers, right? They're so great. Check that out, huh? Oh yeah, that's rad. That's good stuff. Here's another really good one. We're on a good roll here. It's issue 94. You can't be lonely and hard-hearted. I mean, you can, actually. See for yourself in Kiss Proof Katie. So there's a couple making out, and there's these people that are staring at them going, I can't believe they're making out in public. And one of them saying, wow. And then there's a sign down at the bottom that says, demonstrating Kiss Proof lipstick. And then one of the people is saying, they're not demonstrating, they mean it. So they're supposed to be demonstrating the Kiss Proof lipstick, but they're just taking this opportunity to just have a little tonsil hockey. What I really love that you can't see their heads or faces. You can't see them kissing. It's too risque for the cover. The passion of their kiss cannot be seen, right? But just the composition of this is great. There's some DC covers that similarly have legs and stuff, and you can tell a couple's embracing and kissing, but they go off the top, and I think it's great. And the bright red background is terrific. Oh, we're really on a roll, because this cover for 97 is awesome. It's a couple romantically lying on a couch in front of a roaring fire, and the lighting effect from this is great. She's clutching her pearls, and they seem domestic bliss, except look what she's saying. Know something, darling? I hate you. Look at the colors on this, huh? Wow. That's a cool cover. That's a good one. The blurb says, it was the strangest romance this side of heaven. The red-haired boy and the pug-nosed girl. These physical freaks are falling in love. Can you believe it? Great colors, great cover. Weird blurbs. This almost feels like they did this cover and they're like, it doesn't actually fit anything in the comic. We'll just add some dialogue to make it fit one of the stories, because that's a very romantic cover with some very bizarre blurbs on it. Here's a staple of the romance genre. This couple is embracing on stage, and they're actors. There's so many covers like this. Sometimes there's real romance behind the footlights. Read this wonderful love story, struck, easy for me to say, stage-struck sweetheart, and she's thinking it's just play acting to him. He doesn't know that I really love him. There's so many actors on romance covers that are falling in love, and they can't tell each other because it's acting, or one of them assumes the other one, it's all acting. So it's like a little subgenre. You could collect a whole bunch of these. Here's another great cover. Wow, they're really knocking them out of the park with this series. You can see why I love them so much. $99. Check out this great Parisian cafe cover, right? Got the dramatic clouds and the dramatic sky in the background with the Eiffel Tower and the cafe. And then this debonair French guy with the little mustache who looks like Errol Flynn says, "Learn with Jeannie in this breathless romance. When you meet the right man, you'll know." And he's saying, "Don't go back to America. Your heart is here in Paris with me." But presumably he's saying that with a heavy French accent. What a great cover. I haven't pulled these out of my box in a while, and so I'm sort of re-experiencing how great some of these covers are. Here's another staple of the romance genre. It's the artist who is in love with like his model or something. So here's the cover, and they've taken the interesting decision to be looking like through a window, like they're up on the roof looking down through the skylight, right? And he's saying, "Sure you love me, and I'm crazy about you, but it won't work, Iris. We've got our careers to think of." She came to Greenwich Village with a dream in her heart, a dream that became a nightmare. Don't miss Flight from Love. This is issue 100, so there's nothing on the cover to indicate that this is a big anniversary issue. I'm always disappointed when you have an anniversary issue that they don't acknowledge. I want to have a big thing that says like 100th Broken Heart or whatever it is. I want something to have that 100 really jump out. But here it is, Romantic Adventures 100. You'll notice, forgot to mention this, they've changed the title to My Romantic Adventure, and they actually did it quite a while ago. Let me go back all the way back, quite a long time ago. So the first one I have with the My Romantic Adventure is number 78. So it's sometime between issue 58 and 78. They changed that. Here's issue 113. Now this is interesting. Both My Romantic Adventures and Lovelorn, which by this point was called Confessions of the Lovelorn, they have about 3 months where they have these sort of like pseudo painted covers. They did this a couple times to try and mix things up. Like there's like a 3-month period where both of them have the True Vision covers. Then there's another 3-month period right after that where they both have really over the top salacious like covers. The issue 50 of My Romantic Adventures where the woman's gone crazy and she's in jail. She's like screaming from behind bars. She's been in prison because she's nuts. There's one where someone's on trial. And then there's one in a Lovelorn one where the woman's drunk and she's in a bar and is like and just chugging beer. Like they did that was like all in 3 months. So they both went lurid. And then years later, they tried this with these painterly covers and they look really cool. I don't think they're necessarily the best executed. They actually look better from a distance on your screen than they do like up close in person. But they also during this period went to this weird little typed number and font there, but they went back to the hand-drawn stuff shortly. 114. So that one was issue 113. 114, that was the last of the painted covers, as you see here. Think twice before you let him get away, girls. Read why in The Winning of Wilma. Pretty standard. I like the bright red background, though. He looks a lot like Clark Kent. And this other girl's thinking, if a girl like that loves him, why did I ever let him go? Wow. Wow. What a weird, weird mindset. 116. There's a couple getting married. When a gal doesn't land her guy, read What's a Girl to Do? And the girl in the background is looking at the married cover thinking, why can't I get a man? I must be a hopeless case. Another sort of classic type of romance cover. The bridesmaid. Always the bridesmaid. Okay, 117 now. This is a tremendous cover, but I want to talk a little bit about it after I show it to you. The colors are amazing. He loves me, but there's a curse on me. I'm going to lose him. Look at this great cover. He's embracing this redhead and this super dramatic kiss with all the flowers. And then look at the background color. Oh, it's amazing. And this is actually one of the ones that have this in nicer shape. So it looks particularly good. What I wanted to mention, though, is that this is a cover that's actually a reprint cover. Now, I think the coloring is a little different. I can't really remember the original, but I think they might have recolored it. But around this time, they started doing this a lot, where they were recycling covers from back issues of the other series. So I'm almost positive that this was originally Confessions of the Lovelorn cover from several years earlier that they're reusing here. And we see that quite a bit towards the end of the run here, because that's issue 117. And there's more coming up here, including the last issue that are like that. Here's 125. Men shunned romance with her. Why? Read It's Love by Any Name. And the guy's going, fall in love with you? What a laugh that would be. Wow. Super harsh. Dude, brutally harsh. Also, it's a very strange looking word balloon. Like, I don't know why it's cut off like that. But, man, that's some mean crap there you're slinging, dude. What a jerk. I'm guessing that she's a jerk in the story, and then she has to change her ways, but I haven't read that one. 127. Do you have to be smart to win out in romance? See the answer in The Brainless Type. And again, it's a classic where the woman sees the guy she's into kissing another girl, and then she starts crying. And she's thinking, I should have known he couldn't love a little fool like me. I love the yellow. I love the colors. 128. I had to tell him we were wrong for each other, but she's crying. She knows that. Did she make the right choice? Read Muscle Men Have No Souls. That does make me want to read this. Here she is, really dramatic. Oh, I had to tell him we weren't right for each other, even though he just spent 7 hours carving this on this tree. Oh no. Again, great use of the bright red. I really love their color use on these ACG covers. Maybe that's part of why I'm drawn to them. Here's issue 134 with a bright green background cover. And there's a woman on a train, a really long train, which you'll see in a second. And this hand is just coming in with a lighter to light her smoke. So this is early. This is, I think, 63. September, yeah, I think this is September 63 is the cover date. Although there's a stamp on the back. It's actually a date stamp. July 23rd is the delivery date. So summer of 63, smoking still very big. Great use of the greens and yellows. Here's what I was talking about with the train. So look at the way the car is positioned, and then look, obviously we're going forward and then it's going around a bend, but considering where she is and the direction she is and the size of everything and how much train there would have to be to go straight and then curve around and then get that small in the background, this must be the longest train of all time. But it's a great cover. I love trains. I love travel. Travel is inherently romantic. So anytime you are combining a romance cover with a travel cover, I'm all in. So I love that. 135. So we're almost to the end of the series here. And this guy is pinning the girl. So again, you can tell it's early 60s. This one's really beat up. They said it could never happen, but watch romance erupt and good old Gil gets a girl. It's almost like Stan Lee wrote that. There's so much alliteration. I never dreamed it would be you, she's saying as he puts the pin on. And I can understand her confusion because the story says it's about Gil getting a girl, but the guy's initials are PA. So obviously she's surprised that it's not Gil. But I do also like these covers that have like a cultural like touchstone to the time period, because pinning is not something that really is people do anymore. But yeah, really cool. finally, last issue, 138. An amazing romance, straight from the heart. Anything can happen in New York. The girl I've dreamed of in our own honeymoon cottage. Well, you can barely see it because of the coloring, but look at the dramatic coloring. We got this. I mean, I am colorblind, but I'm going to say that's a purple background. The cover, the couples in silhouettes with the lights on them. Here's the house. A pretty strong cover to go out with for the last issue. But, as I mentioned earlier, this is actually a recycled cover. This cover had been used before. Don't remember if it was from an issue of Confessions of the Lovelorn, or if it was from a previous issue of My Romantic Adventures. But this cover was previously used, and I think, again, it might have had a slightly different color scheme. But that's issue 138. Now, that's all I've been able to put together. I mean, it's pretty good. There's 138 issues. I didn't actually count these, but I think I've got about 25 maybe, between 20 and 25. So still a long way to go. Anytime I see any ACGs at conventions or at stores, I get them, but you can see how few I've managed to actually get even doing that. They're just not that easy to find. But again, I love the ACGs, and here's my variant cover that I did. So my comic Geek Love, my romance comic, it's live till Friday, and on Friday I'm going to do a live stream Friday night to count down the last hour of the Kickstarter campaign. But I decided to do a cover that's not an homage. The image itself is not an homage. I drew this cover, and there's a colorist by the name of Adriel Dalla Vecchia who did the coloring. But I wanted to be an homage to the whole series. So that's why I used the My Romantic Adventures logo, which hasn't been seen in a book, I don't think, in 60 years. Which actually might not be true, because I think someone used this title, did a reprints in the 80s. But anyway, so it's bringing that title back, and a tribute to it by using the numbering, so starting up with 139. So it's just sort of my tribute to ACG and the comics there. So this is limited to 100 copies. People seem to be digging it, but I just love this series. So anyway, that's it for this time. Again, the links down below if you want to check out Geek Love #1 and get it before it's gone. Just a couple days left on the campaign there. And then tomorrow I'll be back where I'll be highlighting some romance comics from another publisher that's not DC. So I'll see you then.